while hosting an international researchers group that is newly created. I am standing here in front of you as a member of this group. So now I'd like to open this session as I was asked and to give you a brief framework related to the discussion. That's what the moderators have to do. Another duty of the moderator is timekeeping. I don't know how to do that, but this international group's name that I'm a member of is the Heritopolis. Heritopolis word is composed of two words, heritage and metropolis. When you combine these two, there is Heritopolis. When you follow these streets, like from building to neighborhood to city to the region, and now the metropolitan scale. That's how we handle heritage in our group. So that's what our group is doing. Today, in this session, we have two speeches. In the first speech, we will hear about the heritage group's work in around 20 metropoles of Istanbul in cultural and historical protection scale, and basically a global survey report that has been reviewed from the local and the global reports. The world premiere will be done for the first time and will be offered to the public opinion. This report at the same time is also a part and will be offered to the agenda of UNICEF and Habitat. We have Eric Hubres to present this, and then so dwelling on this report, and he will be offering some examples too. The second speaker is coming from Milano Politecnico, Antonella Contin, Politecnico di Milano. She will be talking about various preservation and protection studies that have been completed in Milano. So first we will be hearing the details about the report, and then we'll be hearing about the examples in different contexts of that report. So we have 68 minutes as of now. So we'll try to use this time in a flexible way. Without further ado, I'd like to now invite our guest, Eric, to the stage. Thank you.
So thank you very much for the invitation. I'm very happy to be here to participate to this session on we said the metropolitan heritage. And so the idea at the beginning from our research forum, was to think what is this correlation, this relation between two things, the heritage, because we are a lot of people coming from this field, and the metropolis. And why the metropolis today? Because we consider that we are in the century of the metropolis. It is the metropolis century today. Half of the urban population today live in metropolis, based on the statistics from UN Habitat, UNDESA, and this increase, the proportion is increasing. And so we can say 1/3 of the population of the world live in metropolitan areas. And so we can consider that the metropolis is our legacy for the next generation. It's the main artifact of this century. And so for this reason, because it is a legacy, we should have in mind that what will we propose for the next generation with what we are doing today at the metropolitan scale. And so the main question for us is, what is the value of the metropolis? What is the quality of the heritage that will offer for the next generation? What will be this quality? It will be high quality or low quality, etc. So, and it becomes heritage when it has value, because we try to preserve or try to have an idea about what is valuable to propose for the next generation. So this is just the beginning, was this. But we have, when we go further on that topic, we think that the metropolis is different than the other heritage artifacts that we have in mind. At the beginning, there were the monuments, after the historical centers, the landscape, and in 2011, UNESCO proposed a recommendation on historical urban landscape, which is an approach. It's not a definition of a new heritage. It's an approach taking into account all the dimension, the geographical dimension of a heritage. The morphology, the soil, the economy, the social issues, the environment, etc. So, but this is an approach. And so, based on that, we can say that what is specific with the metropolis? What is a metropolis? Metropolis, everybody say, yeah, metropolis is a big city. But it's not a big city, it's different. It's not only a city, it's not only urban, it's urban and rural. Why? Because there is a kind of consensus on what is a metropolis. A metropolis is really, it is the economic basin related to the main pole, the main economic activity hubs that are in the urban areas. And so if you think about the commuting, people are coming from the urban agglomeration, the urban areas, but also from villages around, or for hamlet around. And so the metropolis generally is everywhere, is urban and rural. Just an example, Paris metropolis, not Paris Métropole, which is an institution, but the functional urban area, as the definition of OECD, or French definition is similar. This is the metropolis. In Paris, it is 3/4 of the metropolis is rural. And so this is very interesting because we don't think about only urban or only the nature in the city. This is interesting, but it's not that. It is nature and agriculture and city all together in the same area. So the mobility basin, daily mobility basin, and the economic basin is the metropolis. So this is the main definition. So it is based on an economic definition, in fact. And after that, in that territory, we can say, difficult to define exactly because it's moving from time to time, from day to day. And after the COVID, the practice of mobility changed. Now we have peak days with people coming in the city, and other are not peak days. So we can consider that the size of the metropolis changed from day to day. And during the COVID, there was no mobility, so the size of the metropolis shrank. And now it becomes like before. So it's not a territory, in fact. It's something which is moving from time to time. And probably we know that we have in mind that the metropolitan population will increase in this century, probably, if the economy is running like it is running today, despite the fact we should change our model, but for the moment it is the trend, it's that. Except in some countries, like in Japan, in Russia, where, except Moscow, cities are shrinking. Well, post-Soviet countries, a lot of countries are losing population. China is not at the top, but going down. At the end of the century, there will be half of the current population of China. So there will be a lot of change. But globally in Africa, in India, South Asia, Southeast Asia, and other places, it will be expanding very fast. And so this is the first point is that. The metropolis is that. It's an economic definition. It is not really an object. It is something which is moving. So it's not comfortable for people thinking about heritage to have an object. This is not stable. It's never stable. Monuments change, historical. But this is something multiform and etc. And so when we think, what is the artifact of the metropolis? What is what makes the metropolis itself, except this mobility basin, etc.? We think about the function of the metropolis. And the function of the metropolis is based on a metropolis is a hub connecting the rest of the world, and it's also the center part of the mobility basin. And so it is mainly related to networks and hubs and nodes. And so what makes the metropolis? It is the infrastructure, the connection, material and immaterial, and the centers. So airports, conference centers, university, because they are well connected with worldwide, CBDs, railway station. These are the artifacts of the metropolis. But it's not only that, not only this one. There is other elements we'll go later. But when we think like this, what is important in a CBD is not the tower itself. You can change the tower, the function remains. And so, when you think about metropolitan heritage, you don't think about we should conserve this one, don't touch it, this is very important, we should keep it, or perhaps we should keep it. But sometimes we can say if you have a better tower, we have Tour Montparnasse, which is ugly in Paris. It will be redesigned with a new design, totally different, and it will be better for the city itself. And so our approach is not conservative. Our approach is dynamic when you think about the metropolitan heritage. We think about we should increase the value of the metropolis. We should give more quality of life, more quality of design, more quality in the, not only quality of life, but the efficiency is one part of the question, etc. And so what is interesting in that research program, and I think it will be a permanent research program because the metropolis is changing from time to time, and the concept will change. We can have confidence with researchers to define new concepts every year. And so when we think about this concept, I think it is for the research, this research forum will have a long life to define different things. So now I would like to present you a few elements on our program. So we begin on an idea that I launched in Shanghai in 2018. It was a seminar on the historic urban landscape at WITRAP in Shanghai. And so I produced this idea to metropolitan heritage. I put this in the basket and say, yes, this is interesting, we go. And after that, we tried to have a big conference in China, but it collapsed for political reasons. But then we say what we can do with this idea. And so we launched just the idea on the global network, on the web, and we have the chance to have some very well-connected people like Antonella, like Mike Turner, Francesco Bandarin, and others, and to find connection. And we have from the beginning, we have the support of MTPA, which is the global network of planning agencies, so people working on metropolitan issues, to support the decision maker to prepare policies and strategies. And we ask UN Habitat, the metro hub of UN Habitat, and Rafa is here today to support us, if they are interested in this idea, because it can be part of their political agenda. at the global level? And they say yes. And so we go on that with UNI, which is the network of University of UN Habitat, of the UN, in fact. And the network grow with Istanbul, with Barcelona here, with Oriol, Murat, of course, and others. And now today we have around 20 metropolis after 2 years working on that, and 10 others want to come. It's easy to come, just call us or write an email, and we just explain. And the entry point is to produce a survey on your city, to have key elements on what is the situation regarding heritage and the metropolis, and what are the trends or the new ideas, what is innovative. So I will present you now to change the slide, you have this one. The result of the survey, the survey was, it's a permanent survey because we have today, this one, huh? Yeah. So we have a global survey global, it's only 15 metropolis. But this is global because it is increasing from time to time. So it's unfinished work. And so you see we have all the cities, Barcelona, Beijing, Buenos Aires, from Asia, from South America, from the Middle East, from Europe, yes, and Mediterranean cities. So Istanbul is there, of course, very important, because this is the largest, in competition with Moscow, the largest metropolis in Europe, and one of the largest of Asia. So this is particular. And so we have all of them, and they produce their paper of around 10 pages each, and to try to describe the current situation and to show the emerging trends and what is innovative regarding heritage. And so, and we have in mind that how to define the value of the metropolis, how to define this, and what is the global tools that we have today to define this value, the concept. And we think that we should, what is global is UN, and UN produce different things, UNESCO, UN Habitat, the New Urban Agenda, the SDGs. We can pick in that inspire us to develop the concept of the value of the metropolis. Okay? So we have these elements, and they are to, and so the idea was to tackle different subjects regarding the survey, to cover, of course, history, socioeconomics, environment, and other elements, and political economy. But the idea of the survey was to cover the different dimension of the heritage related to the metropolis. Perhaps one of the very important, two important things in that topic is, and this is a real problem for the politicians who are working at the metropolitan level. It is, what is the DNA of your metropolis? What is the soul of your metropolis? What makes it, what is your identity? When you have the feeling to be part of a metropolis, you are living in the suburbs of Istanbul, are you part of Istanbul or not? You're living in villages at 30 kilometers of Istanbul, and you come every day in Istanbul, are you from Istanbul or not? This feeling is a real big concern for, not only for citizens, but also for the politicians, to convince that the metropolis is a reality. If there is no sharing of this identity, we can consider the metropolis doesn't exist, in fact, in the mindset of the actors. And so we are working on that. We try to define what is the process to build this metropolitan identity, for example. Is it only branding? Is it only metropolitan marketing? Or is it something more deep, something more important in the mind of the inhabitants, the citizens, or the users. And so this is the other element which is really important is to have in mind that because of the nature of the metropolis is urban and rural, it is also very important to change our mindset regarding the subjects. So when you have not only people, I can say, with an urban identity, they should have a metropolitan identity, which is not specifically urban. So there is other characteristics that are very interesting is that the metropolis, because it is a hub that attracts a lot of people connected with the rest of the world, this is the function of the metropolis is that, to support the global economy.
Metropolitan şehirlerde dünya ekonomisini desteklemek. O yüzden de zaten doğası gereği daha farklı kültürlerin bir araya geldiği bir merkez. O yüzden kültürden konuşmak lazım kimlikten ziyade. Kültür dediğiniz zaman farklı kimliklerin bir araya geldiği bir mekandan bahsediyoruz ve orada spesifik yeni bir kültür ortaya çıkıyor. Yani yeni bir müzik, yeni bir dil. Mesela Mombasa'da yeni bir dil var, farklı grupların kullandığı dillerin bir karması olan. Yani o yüzden sadece mirasa bakıp nedir bu kimlik, bu kimliği koruyalım diyemeyiz. Zaten konu bu da değil. Önemli olan kozmopolit bir kültürün metropolislerde ortaya çıkıyor olması. Ve bizim de yaptığımız araştırma bununla ilgiliydi. Farklı örnek ülkelerimiz var. Mesela çok enteresan, eminim başka örneklerle de açıklayabiliriz ama mesela Pekin şu anda kendi mirasını bakıyor ve biliyorsunuz yani binalarla ilgili olsun, yapılarla ilgili olsun hakikaten çok eski bir mirasa sahip. Biz 80'lerde orada çalışırken yani sadece dediğimiz zaman ama şimdi artık mirası daha geniş kapsamda değerlendiriyorlar. Mesela şimdi böyle güneyde bir sembolik eksen var biliyorsunuz. Oraya böyle mesela o ekseni mutlaka tutmaya çalışıyorlar. Sadece oradaki rüzgar gerçeğinden değil, şehrin sembolü olduğu için. Aynı şekilde yani Pekin'de gerçekten çok ciddi değişimler oldu. Ama yine de muhafazakar, daha böyle eski moda yaklaşımı da sürdürüyorlar. Öte yandan Barcelona'ya bakalım. Barcelona her zamanki gibi çok inovatif, çok da enteresan çünkü burada olay miras ve kendi planlama sistemi, planlama dokümanlarına bütün geçirdikleri yenilikler. Genellikle böyle olmuyor şehirlerde. Yani şehirler genellikle kendi miraslarını dikkate almıyorlar metropolitan ölçeğinde. Ama Barcelona'da burada büyük şehir dokümanlarında bunları artık anlattılar. Keza Londra'da da öyle ama mesela Paris bunu yapmadı. Paris yani bir düşünün kültür şehri yani mirasın yani miras artık yani tarih DNA'sına işlemiş Paris'in. Paris artık dünyanın en son hani bütün şehirlere kıyasla 7-8 tane koruma altına alınması gereken bölgeye sahip. Ama Paris demiyor ki şu andaki master planda yani büyükşehir master planında tek bir kelime bile affedilmiyor mirasa. Yani sadece diyor ki miras ekonomik kalkınma için bir kullanılacak metadır. Düşünün. Londra'nın öte yandan mesela mirasla ilgili koskoca bir bölümü var master planında. Yani böyle değişik yaklaşımlar söz konusu. Buenos Aires mesela onlar biraz daha kültüre odaklanıyorlar mirastan ziyade. Çok da böyle canlı, çok dinamik bir şehir, çok da enteresan mirasa sahip bir şehir. Ama dediğim gibi kültüre daha fazla vurgu yapıyorlar. Londra ve Barcelona mesela daha çok miras odaklı. Şimdi biz büyük şehir anlamında düşündüğümüz zaman insanlar bunu nasıl görüyorlar ve masaya yatırdıklarında hani konuyu nasıl görüyor, yani nasıl o zorunlu belgelere geçiriyorlar, buna bakmak lazım. Çok enteresan farklı yaklaşımlar karşımıza çıkıyor. Bir de bazen belki mesela hani hiç mirasa atıfta bulunulmalı dediğimiz noktalar oluyor. Bazen diyoruz ki belki politikacıların ve diğer planlama kurumlarının bambaşka bir gündemi var. Yani
So it's a new question for them. Voilà. So we discuss in the report with we discuss the concept of the what is the relation, how do you make this connection with the new urban agenda, with the SDGs. You know, the SDGs 11.4 is on heritage. But what is the meaning of that, if you think about the... And some of the of large cities like Seoul produce VLR, a voluntary local report. Los Angeles or others, but Los Angeles is not yet in our group. They produce and they scan all their policies and to see how it is related to the SDGs, for example. So this is very interesting. This kind of report is very interesting to scan. And so we are looking, is there anything about the SDG 11.4 in that report? Because this is the key entry. But this is not the only entry, because nature is very important. And generally, when we speak about heritage, we think about the formal heritage, the monument, the historical center, and the landscape, but which is classified. But here we want to go further. So they present this. So what is you can also say that there is the approach is different from cities to cities. Some are very conventional, you can say like Seoul, classical heritage, but there are very few heritage. But in East Asia, the heritage is, what is the most important is you can renew totally. It was the case in Korea because everything was destroyed during the war in the 50s, but they rebuilt totally the heritage. The imperial palace is wonderful, and others, forts, etc., are totally rebuilt, but they are heritage. When you discuss with RPA New York, they say, for us, the heritage is not the Empire State Building or Chrysler Tower. This is not important. This is not our DNA. Our heritage, it is New York, it is anti-institutional. So our heritage is more the intangible. It is when you have the music, the graffiti, the jazz at the beginning, last century, or today when you have a big manifestation, a lot of people go to the street for LGBT, for the different communities, and this is New York. What is vibrant in New York, which is against the institutions, in fact. And they say this is our heritage. The most important is that. The graffiti is more important than the Empire State Building. So you think the approach, what represents the metropolis, is less the statue of the liberty statue, than the graffiti. And so we're moving from cities to have different approach, different type of understanding. So the intangible heritage is something very important. We are producing different elements subject. Like we produced last year with Sciences Po. We work on with l'École d'urbanisme de Paris School of Urban Planning. We work on the metropolitan Belvedere, how the metropolis is looking on itself at large scale. And for us, it's very important because we have in Paris City, we have 1,268 municipalities, so it's very small municipalities. And when you speak about the metropolis, which is the regional scale, this is quite the same, the functional urban area and the region. We have this chance in Paris. To make this visual connection between from place to place that is crossing several dozen of municipalities, that gives sense to make this cohesion in the metropolitan area. Now we're working on another subject, which is the heritage in the suburbs with Madrid and Edinburgh. The idea is to have a look on what is the meaning of the heritage in the periphery. Because it's not the case in Paris, but most of the city, most of the institutional heritage, it is in the center. But in Paris, Versailles, Fontainebleau are not in the city center, but generally it is like that. And so the idea is to think about so we're working with in workshop with the citizens, with the local bodies and the private sector. We have workshop to define different types of heritage based on 3 concepts, which is the patrimonialization, metropolization, and globalization concept with a lot of indicators, 80 indicators, I think. And so there is different elements like that. And so what will be the future of the metropolis and the future of heritage? So if we consider that the concept of heritage is changing when you're looking at the metropolitan scale, it's less conservative, more dynamic, something which is more proactive, and that question the policies, the metropolitan policies, to give more value for the metropolis, to have more value for the next generation. This change probably the approach, the view that we can have on the different metropolitan policies. So I think the main elements probably is there, how to push the politicians, the decision makers, and those who are producing this metropolitan policies in all fields, how to push them to take into account what will be the legacy for the next generation. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Can you hear me? Yes. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for this invitation. I really would like to pass from what and why to how. I coordinate a unit of research in the Department of Architettura e Studi Urbani of the Politecnico di Milano. And we try to develop projects since 2000, more or less, trying to identify the nature of the metropolis and also the cultural identity of the metropolis. And I would like to start with a little excerpt of the speech that in September 20, in New York, the Secretary General of the United Nations said. He said, "Dear friends, what has been clearly demonstrated by all the testimony we have heard today from government, regions, city, business, from asset owners, is that the 1.5-degree limit is achievable. We are not talking about a dream. We are talking about something that can be real if we mobilize all our energy to make it a reality. In many ways, however, we are even going backwards. Of course, it is true that we will still see many fossil fuel companies asset owners, and other companies that seems to be betting and investing in the same logic as those who, at the beginning of the century, were betting and investing in horse-drawn carriage, thinking that this would guarantee them the maximum profits. Every continent, every region, every country is feeling the heat, but I wonder if all leaders are feeling the heat and their efforts have fallen abysmally short. So I think that that is a key message. How we are speaking about heritage, and the metropolis heritage, if it is the metropolis one of the main reasons why we are in that situation. And that these are other two very dramatic reports. The first one, it's about water, the water scarcity. The water quality will be the issue. And much more, what Urban Forum is saying, that the risk for our investment, the investment of the stakeholders, the investment of the powerful and muscular metropolis are under risk due to some climate change disaster. But much more, we can see how the environmental crisis will be the other main risk for our city. And World Urban Forum claimed that the effect of this natural hazard and environmental crisis will have the same impact of a war that will use arm that will destroy the entire humanity. This is a key message. When Habitat a few years ago also suggests us two different approaches. One is a low carbon approach, so we have to consider that the heritage of our metropolitan system, if you consider that the metropolis is a system of places that have to sustain together, we have to take into consideration the scarcity of the research. That is our legacy, the legacy that I will leave to my daughter. But also, we have to start to think about a remedial urbanism. So how this metropolis is not only the issues, the reasons, the causes of our challenges, but it's also the spark, the seed of the remedial. And we know what is going on, how the land use is changing. This is Istanbul. The same city fabric of the Grand Bazaar that almost has a dimension of a settlement, right now is occupied by the Canyon, a beautiful mall in Istanbul, but can you imagine the impact of this new metropolitan project on our territory? And we have to take into consideration that the dimension of the Canyon is almost 350, that is the same dimension of the Bazaar, that was the dimension of the Roman Forum. So how in the past we were able to manage the huge dimension of our metropolitan architecture project in a sustainable way, because the bazaar is porous, it's possible to pass through the bazaar. And the Torre David in Venezuela also is speaking us about the fact that the metropolis is growing. We are planning this metropolis that happy became always and always stronger, but this is the famous case study of a failure. I don't have time to show this video, but I really suggest you to look at this Ames, Charles and Ray Ames video. The name is Power of 10, and allow us to understand that we have to think that we are dealing with a multiple scale, and in this video we start from the skin of a man laying on a grass, we goes up until the universe, and we return down into the atom of our skin. That is a key issue. It's not a static way to analyze our metropolis, but we have to deal with different scale. I don't know if you can help me to start this small video from there, because I don't think that I can from here. Can you? No? Okay. But it's very simple example. if you look at a traditional clock and if you look at digital clock, you will see a strong difference, because in our traditional way to look the time, second, minute, hour, are all together. But if we use a digital clock, what is really important are the second, and the hour we finish, and it's a beat. And so we have also to take into consideration that when we are speaking about heritage, we are speaking about time, and the way in which we analyze the time of the metropolis is not hour, but is byte, and what will remain of this very speed time. Another concept that the European community continue to propose us in a lot of projects is the concept of entanglement. What does it mean, entanglement? Entanglement means that for the first time we have to take into consideration that culture, technology, but also biosphere have to be strongly related to each other. So as architect, urban designer, landscaper, politician, for the first time in a very strong way, we have to think that even though we have to work in a very little portion of our territory, we have to take into consideration the earth, and we have to take into consideration the air, because according to Chakrabarty, for the first time, is it possible that the human being could disappear from the earth? So which is the relation with the history, with the tradition, with the culture, if our life is not only the life of the human being, but our life is strongly related with the life of our planet? And we try also to invert the pyramid of the knowledge. We are not wise because we have a lot of data, but vice versa. We have to be wise to understand, according to our hypothesis of the development of our city and territory, which are the data, very few data, that we have to extract, connect among them, so that to support our hypothesis of development. So in our department, we started to figure out, working on this approach, that is anti-fragile approach. We try to figure out a series of tools, strategy that allow us not only to speak about resiliency, but introducing another concept that was the concept of a famous biologist, Navet, from the Tel Aviv University. We have to invent a new territory. It's not only an adaptive system, but we have to invent a new landscape, new territory that allow us to slow down the risk that the climate change, the global warming is producing in our society. So our hypothesis is that is exactly the new architecture of the metropolitan dimension. So something that is not green, is not gray, but is a green-gray infrastructure that can allow us to support this new dimension of the metropolis, but also this new time of the metropolis. This is a project that we have done here in Istanbul. The request was to define a new waterfront where the ferry boat station and the tram, coastal line tram station, can produce one of these new nodes that Eric Hubrecht proposed as the seed of these structures, this network, Professor Gramsci speak about metropolis as a network. Only a little note. It's different to speak about polycentric city and network city, because when we speak about polycentric cities, the focus is on the node and the pole. But when we are speaking about network, referring to something that also Kevin Lynch defined lacework, the focus is in the space in between, the space that we name green area, void, but doesn't have a shape because it's cut by the infrastructure. So what is relevant is to define a node, an hinge point, that allow us to define this new shape for the space in between the network. And as architect, what we have to do is to define an architecture that defend the culture of our territory, that is a geographical and cultural legacy. So our project cannot stop the continuity of the green and gray infrastructure, and in particular of the water. So we start as architects from this scale, the scale of a new metropolitan architecture project that is almost 1 kilometer for 1 kilometer. Remember that the metropole of the last century was 110 for 110, Barcelona. Le Corbusier in Barcelona, Plan Maillard, defined the settore urbano, the urban sector, 400 meter for 400 meter, but right now we are speaking about a mega block that is 1 kilometer for 1 kilometer. So as architect, we have to take into consideration the soil, the ground, the green, the blue, and the gray infrastructure. So to understand how a project can defend and conserve the quality of our territory, the continuity of the green and blue is fundamental. So we have to return back to the bigger scale, the scale of Istanbul, and understand which kind of continuity of the green and blue infrastructure that is our culture, is the legacy for our children. Which kind of continuity is the bioregion? A metropolis is very close to the bioregion. That is a new concept that is related to the fact that we cannot plan our metropolis if we remain inside the definition of an administrative border. And then we have to understand that our station is one point of the continuity of the Golden Horn. So we study how it is possible to connect the green infrastructure of the Golden Horn with the coastal park. And then we study the node that we found along the huge infrastructure in the Balat neighborhood. And we reinforce this neglected green that we find all around the huge metropolitan or urban highway in the metropolis, and only at the end we arrive at the scale of the project. So this way to work along the scale is fundamental. But we open a debate between the old architect, old urban design, and I agree with them. City was able to define the vase of the green infrastructure, but right now the complexity of our metropolis push us to consider, and in China, for example, this is a project of Turenscape. We are now speaking about not urban design, but landscape urbanism, sponge park, a water catchment, the capability to absorb all the water that define the challenge of our city. This is a project that we have done in Dar es Salaam. Again, it was a railway station. Eric Kubrecht mentioned that the project related to the metropolis are related to this kind of infrastructure, but you see the abstract scheme of our new centrality. 1 kilometer for 1 kilometer. The main hinge point is a collective transportation system, and the architecture, this building with a green roof that allow us to pass through the track of the train and connect the neighborhood with the traditional garden, with the new metropolitan park that is a river, that for us is what we have to preserve, conserve, and transform in our metropolis. Tomorrow we will have an event, the Metropolitan Day, and the topic that they present is related to which is a connection between the nature and the metropolis. And as a matter of fact that right now we have to speak about a nature-based solution. Nature-based solution, we can speak about a nature-based solution starting from a technical point of view, biological point of view, but I would like to catch your attention to one of the main reasons why we speak about a nature-based solution. Nature-based solutions are fundamental, according to European community, in shaping and advancing cultural-based solutions. So it's not possible anymore to speak about a cultural-based solution if we not connect the cultural-based solution with natural-based solution. So we can see that the cultural-based approach are related to growing well, culture and tradition, sense of belonging, care of places, sustainable mobility, space and enjoyment for all, beauty. And on the other side, to reach this goal, we have to speak about sustainable management of water, air quality, balance of urban metabolism, protection from extreme events, healthy food production, sustainable effective management of green spaces, mitigation and adaptation, and we can say anti-fragilization to climate change. So if we are able to put together these two approaches, we produce an overall benefit. Education, environmental justice, cohesion, equity, multi-level governance, urban regeneration, health, one health for the city. This is very boring. So that is a technical part of the nature-based solution at the base of this construction of cultural-based solution for metropolis. Multidimensional revolution, natural and human capital, knowledge framework, Anthropocene crisis, way to solve the problem, vulnerability of the landscape, global challenges. But to me, what is important to define, what does it mean metropolis heritage, are related to this concept. First of all, we as architect, urban designer, decision maker, right now we have to find a strategic alignment between the metacity, so technology, and also ICT technology, transport network, a very complex city fabric, formal and informal, and landscape. And we have to produce a metropolitan revitalization. So we try to identify what does it mean, the DNA of the metropolis. And I don't want to speak about value, because value is tricky. I would like to speak about resources. Your identity, your city fabric, informal, to me has to be a resource. Probably it's not my value, my way of life, but it can be a resource for me. So the point is it possible to think that heritage can be a tool against gentrification? So not to think that heritage is tourism, but heritage is a tool to allow us, due to the fact that we connect cultural-based solution within nature-based solution, is it possible that the main focus is faced against gentrification? We are speaking about cultural solution integration, so we have to recognize the paramount role of nature-based solution in forming metro cultural-based solution. And we have to think that we have also to explore the fact that I wonder, because when we present our report, we show only images of the traditional monument of the city. Milano is the Galleria. It's not true. Milano is not the Galleria. Probably Milano is Gratosoglio, Lorenteggio, Bovisa. So when we speak about a metropolis, we are speaking about different contexts, and we have to find a way to transform this neglected area in a resource for the city. And the last point is a very strong critique regarding the issue of preservation. When we are speaking about our landscape, a metropolitan landscape, when we speak about preservation, we have to say that preservation is a transformative process, similar to an enzymatic process. So we used to say that when we speak about metropolitan metabolism, that is not only the ecological footprint, so an exchange of flux and energy, but it's the fact that always, if we would like to conserve, we have to maintain. If we would like to develop, we have to substitute. But if we would like to develop, and I know that this word is tricky, we have to transform. So when we are speaking about nature, and nature is not static, it's a process, we have to speak about the fact that to transform means to produce a new process of revitalization of our nature. And that is a challenge, and that is the scope of the metropole, because we say that is a system of places. So water is a system, and I have to understand geography is a system. And so it's a continuum that right now doesn't exist, that we have to be able to foster. And what to me is super important are these two elements. We are speaking about multi-governance level, but the architecture, and I use architecture as Kant, so structure of the metropole. Architecture means structure, is environment, is nature, is water, is a system of park from the regional, metropolitan, until the pocket garden in our metropole. So, and in Latin America, they are start to use this concept of environmental governance, ambiental governance, that we have to connect with multi-level governance to manage the sustainability. And what is relevant is that if we are able to speak about environmental governance, we also consider that this idea of heritage that remains quite abstract is fundamental because, this means that we transform the cure of our environment in a way to engage the society. The problem of the metropole is that we don't have a metropolitan demos. Who can say I am a metropolitan citizen? It's very difficult. So I guess that the narrative has to be the environmental governance, the cure of our nature, the cure of our water in particular. So how to transform, encourage engagement through both formal and informal institutional arrangement so that to be able to engage local actors. And it's not my thought, but James Corner spoke about the fact that we can really use environment, air, water, green infrastructure, green and gray infrastructure to engage people in the cure of our territory. Istanbul, you see how the bazaar, the Fatih, were huge dimension in the city, what is going on, also in terms of landscape, paesaggio, panorama, how it's changed. Istanbul was outside. Right now, Istanbul is inside the different metropolitan architecture project. Which kind of heritage? That is the image of Istanbul. The last project was the project by Zaha Hadid, a beautiful project that was chosen because it was generic. So how is it possible to speak about Istanbul as a generic city? Istanbul cannot be homologated. And these images, for me, are super beautiful. Istanbul is this shock between the mosque, we are in Ortaköy, I guess, and the image, a sort of Disney World image of the bridge. This is the heritage of Istanbul. And it remains that we study. So the main question when we speak about a metropolis heritage, and I connect two great master of urban discipline, Kevin Lynch, what time is this place? Which is the time of the metropole? And Professor Gramsci from the Columbia University that told us, be careful, because the new metropolitan project is a new heterotopia that is very porous, in which we have a multiple pocket function that produce the new legacy of the city. Gramsci speaks about the Metropolitan Architecture Project as a new site, Eritopolis, in reality, is connected with the idea of heterotopia, so the space of the other. The new Metropolitan Architecture Project, also this place, has to be a project that allows us to be porous, to be multifunctional, but also to be able to transform a huge territory as a new geography. So how to transform a site in a place, introducing the new need of the metropolitan population. This was a project that we did in Yenikapı, and I don't want to speak about the project of Yenikapı right now in Istanbul. I'm sorry, I don't want to be unpolite. The traditional way we use landscape urbanism, but also urban design. We study the dimension of the connection between an madrasa, mosque, this beautiful maidan, continuity of the public space that you have, the capability of the Fatih mosque to be porous, so to be huge like the Rockefeller Center, like the Foro, but to be porous, so something that probably our new project are not. And at the end, we define, and that is an old project, we define the new metropolitan digit, 1 kilometer for 1 kilometer, that also try to reinterpret the culture of the bazaar, of the caravanserai, in a new building that right now has to deal with a section strategy, so incredibly complex regarding the, and in the Yenikapı excavation, it was possible to find 22 Roman boats. It was amazing. I don't know where are these boats right now. It's a pity. And so imagine that the Yenikapı were a double wall harbor, totally disappear. And so we used the augmented reality to produce a new reality, putting together with new technologies. That is super important to maintain this idea of interphases time of this kind of territory. It was a project that put together the reconstruction of the wall of the Yenikapı, the new project, but also a sort of imagining of this area. I don't know if it's possible to help me to start this video. Hey, can you start this video, please? Okay, no, okay, if you start. That was the first 10 years ago, 15 years ago, with Murat Güvenç, we made this seminar, and that was the images that it was a music, but it's not possible. So that was the idea that we reconstruct the harbor. Imagine that the boat were at below 6 meters. So we invent this boat floating in the air because the excavation of the Marmaray Tunnel was very, very low. So if we really would like to communicate the metropolitan heritage, we have to use new technology. We reconstructed the wall, and we are speaking about a futurist archaeology. So how to use archaeology that is without time in a city that used to live within the remains. So how is it possible to connect together the different time? Past, present, and future. We transformed the boat in some monster. Remember that inside the double wall, it was a sort of production of different colored vegetation because it was cultivated in the past. And of course, we have to introduce art and surrealism approach to communicate this part of the archaeological life of this city. And so we use augmented reality to allow people to be aware about the consistency of the heritage of this metropolis. To finish, Mardin. Mardin is a beautiful Syrian city right now in Turkey. It's amazing. We are close to the fertile land of Babylonia. Incredible. It's a rock, it's Ur. It's fantastic. And the capability of the past to be able to understand the relationship between building and ground, we're able to decrease 10 degrees the temperature or increase the temperature, allow the wind passing through the different area. And the city uses this tunnel to produce humidity and fresh air with the water that is sacred, but also is an incredible nature-based solution to allow the life in this area. So what we try to do is to use the rule of the sun, of the wind, of the ground, and understand how the city works. So the city is on different slope. You see two roads, and it's done because they excavated the stone and rebuilt the stone. So there is a very specific DNA in the construction of the city that in the western part is growing very, very much and in a very fragmented way. So despite all the provision, we identified the dimension of the Roman cities, the Foro Romano, 350, 350. So how the history can tell us the DNA of a city. Along the city fabric was not so easy to recognize, but it was possible to find that every 350 meters, it was a monumento, the bazaar, the mosque, the basilica in the past. So we studied the city fabric and the different dimensions of the monument, and we said, okay, it's like a music. That is the art that allows us to produce a synthesis of these challenges. And we start to define the different period of the city like different rhythms of a music. And we study the settlement, 350, divided by a road with three different possibilities to reach the house. The normal slope, the super slope, and the middle slope, and we study the room. Every room is 5 meters for 5 meters. And we use technology. So we use digital parametric tools, so the grasshopper, to understand how the DNA of the city was related to the fact that the type was fixed, but had an element of flexibility that was a courtyard, that changed according to the slope of the ground. And so, with the technique, instead to make one project, we were able to make 100 projects, define the relationship between building and plaza, building plazas and streets, so understand how the structure, the DNA of the city, the relation between building and ground were in the past, and how it was possible to give an answer to the majors that would like to build 3 5-star hotel into the city fabric, bombing the city. And we said, no, we have to build something totally new. So you see how identify some parameters that are related to which kind of city fabric do you want, and which is the relation with the sun, with the ground. We were able to define different kind of space, and at the end, we arrived to take a decision. We rebuilt an entire border of the city, and it's really a metropolitan architecture project, really, really huge in the border of the city between the old city and the new city, that use the DNA of the city, the structure of the city for a new metropolitan project. I think that my time is finished, and thank you very much. Antonella, nice to meet you.
Teşekkür ediyorum. 11'de bitirme.
Thank you very much to all the speakers. We have to finish at 11. There was a question here. Can I please hear your question?
Okay. In listening to you, I was thinking about rebuilding Antakya, which was just destroyed in the earthquake, and I found that the questions you were asking could be very relevant. So I'm wondering if this approach could be used to help guide the rebuilding of the city.
So, of course, there is two, when you are in a process of rebuilding, there is different phases. And there is the phases of emergency. After that, generally, you repair as you can. And after, generally, there is no planning in this at the beginning. And it is a pity because it is one way to rebuild the society by a collective approach to define the commons, as was said by Antonella, or to define not only the commons, but also the social framework to work together on the same vision for the future. And so rebuilding at the metropolitan scale is truly important to develop the vision, because we cannot rebuild only with money and materials. The project of rebuilding is a project of society, in fact. And so it should be taken at the large scale to make it happen in a collective dynamic from the local to the larger scale, which is the metropolitan area. And so, of course, this approach is truly important. The second point is to give more value, and we say to build back better. So it's not only building, or it's also building the society. It's also building reconstruction is also opening a lot of new possibilities to make the city better, to create the connection that doesn't exist before. But this needs to have a vision. This needs to have a global approach for all the territory which is concerned. So, of course, it should be.
Peki. Bir soru daha alabileceğiz. Ondan sonra
We have time for one more question, and then we have to finish off.
Both presentations, they were very interesting. The question, or better the comment, is I really like the idea that we love metropolis so much that they are our heritage to the future, good or bad heritage. No? And when I say good or bad, I also try to discuss the idea of value. When we, as scholars, fly into a large metropolis from the sky, we are fascinated by the metropolis, because it's so huge, a human fact, that you cannot be something else than fascinated. But then when you live in such metropolis every day, you feel like the fatigue and the burden of living in such a place. So as planners, we always build the city to be, no? The city we would like to be better, the metropolis we would like to be better. But still it's very difficult an heritage, the metropolis, because it brings together not just the beauty of this extreme human artifact, but also the complexity and the difficulties of every day in living such a place. So I was wondering if we are already in the condition to consider the metropolis as an heritage, a good heritage, or there are elements in the metropolis still not considered values that make it very difficult to build heritage out of the metropolis. And this, I think, is the big challenge, how we consider the everyday practices of being metropolitan citizen, spaces for hope rather than spaces for difficult and hard life. And if they do not become spaces for hope in every corner of the metropolis, it's very hard to say that this is an heritage. So I think we have a huge task to go through to try to transform in spaces for hope the spaces of the everyday metropolitan life that is very complicated for many people that live very far from city centers, very far from resources, very far from quality sometimes. So this is the big problem. How can I turn the RRR in an heritage? I, as a scholar, love RRR in Paris, the noise, the sounds, the place, the landscapes. But I'm sure that everyday commuter can have hard time thinking that this is the heritage I want to leave to my children. So it's very hard to work on that, and I think the value of the project is in this big challenge.
Peki, burada kapatmamız gerekiyor çünkü başka bir program var, kapanış oturumu.
We have to close now because there's there's this closing session. I would like to thank very much to the sign language interpreters as well as the other interpreters that really facilitated our job for the last 3 days. Thank you.
kings till the dawn. An everlasting story's begun. Be the king of the night. When we wake up, this will never be gone.
Sayın
Distinguished MMU President, distinguished mayors, our academics, and all distinguished guests, welcome to MARUF 2023 and beyond closing session. I would like everyone to take their places as soon as possible. Our session is about to start. Now, I'd like to first introduce myself and then I'll invite our guests. I'm MMU's Urban Planning Coordinator and Urban Policies Center Director as the Program Coordinator. My name is Ezgi Küçükçalışkan. I'd like to invite to the stage other program coordinators, Buyucu Ayşener and Görse Varganos. Please take your seat this way. Okay. Welcome. It's great to be on the stage with all of you, with all of our guests. Urcan Hanım, could you please introduce yourself? Thank you for your invitation. It's not as it looks on the screen. It's quite exciting to be here. I'm Buyucu Ayşener from Marmara Municipalities Union Foreign Affairs Director and Urban Policies Director. So who are you here with? I came here with Cemil Bey, our General Secretary. Hi, Cemil. Would you like to introduce yourself? You're saying hi, okay. Now let's move to our next guest. Would you like to introduce yourself and us? I'm Görse Varganos. I'm at MMU and I'm also the local administration academies management. We've had a really tough 2023 preparation period. Was it tiring? Well, MARUF really takes a lot of effort. It's quite intensive, and we wanted to
the exhibition. So I think it's about wood. Is it? I'm not sure actually.
Ve atık malzemelerden ürettiği enstrümanlarla müzik yapan Fungi İstanbul'un Suya Ağıt parçasında suya şey yaptıkları parçayı dinledik şimdi. O yüzden cevap su.
Eminsiniz.
Eminim ve son kararım. Başarılar diliyorum. Kolaylıklar Ezgi Hanım.
Teşekkür ederiz Furkan Bey'e. Evet Burcu Hanım. Evet. Cevabınız
Ben sonsuz
sudur diye düşünüyorum. Erken davranıyorum.
Tabii ben ekip arkadaşıma sonsuz güveniyorum ve B su demek istiyorum. Son kararım.
Son kararınız.
Bakalım.
Tebrik ediyoruz.
Teşekkürler Furkan Bey.
Yarışmacımızı. Ve hemen Burcu Hanım sizinle bir soruya daha devam edelim. Sıradaki sorumuz gelsin. MARUF23 oturum kurguları arasında yer alan hangi etkinlik modunda bize çözüm diye sunulan, dilimizden düşmeyen, popüler ya da moda olmuş konseptleri iki farklı uzmanın perspektifinden tartıştık. A. Balon mu değil mi? Hype or not dediğimiz. B. Hızlı bakış. C. Derin dalış. D. Yerel eylem.
Şimdi Ezgi Hanım hızlı bakış oturumlarımız yani quick take dediğimiz oturumlarımız 30 dakikada o konunun doğayeniyle birlikte o konuya hızlıca böyle baktığımız, çok derinlemesine tartışmadan konuyu daha yüzeysel ele aldığımız oturumlardı. Deep dive, derin dalış oturumları ise 90 dakikalık en uzun oturumlarımızdı.
Neler vardı aralarında deep dive'ların bu arada? Evet,
bu yılın ana teması olan dayanıklılığın alt temalarında, alt başlıklarındaki bir takım şeyleri tartıştık. Örneğin sosyal dayanıklılık, çevresel dayanıklılık, işte yönetişim, kültür gibi 7 tane paralel oturumumuz vardı. Dolayısıyla bu da değil. Yerel eylem, local in action oturumları da küresel ölçekte dünyadan iyi uygulama örneklerini maruf dostlarıyla paylaştığımız oturum modeli. Balon mu değil mi, hype or not oturumlarıysa aslında bize Maruf 21'in kapanışında, hatta 19'da da yine aynı şekilde konuşmuştuk. Sayın Başkanımızın söylediği bir şey vardı. Bu çok popüler olan kavramları kullanıyoruz. Belki de her şeye çözüm getirdiğine inanıyoruz. Fakat gerçekten neyin çözümü? Bazı şeylere çözüm getiriyor olabilir ama belki de sınırlı bir ölçekte getiriyordur. Bunları bir tekrar ele alalım dedik. Dolayısıyla
yeniden ele almak, evet.
balon mu değil mi? A demek istiyorum.
Son kararınız mı?
Son karar.
Bakalım balon mu değil mi? Evet, tebrik ederiz.
Teşekkür ederim.
Evet, çok güzel gidiyor yarışma. Heyecanınız kaldı mı? Az önce heyecanlıydınız.
Yani soruları bildikçe aslında güzelleşmeye başladı benim için. Demek ki çok biliyormuşum Maruf'u.
Peki neden?
Peki o zaman nasıl heyecanınızı yanmışken bir başka heyecanın yanmadan konuma sorumuza geliyoruz. Sorumuz gelsin. Aşağıdakilerden hangisi Maruf kapsamında ilk kez kızıllar konuştuğu etkinlik verilen bir değildir? A. Kent siyası.
C.
Evet, şimdi A seçeneği kent sineması. Gerçekten bu sene ilk defa yaptığımız bir etkinlik türü. Altyazıyla beraber çalıştık ve aslında 4 uzun film ve aynı zamanda 4 tane de panel gerçekleştirdik. Kent atölyeleri yapıyorduk ama Maruf'ta hep hayalimiz bir odayı gerçekten full atölyelere ayırıp orada böyle oyun yöntemini de kullanarak farklı atölyeler yapmaktı. 10 tane atölye yaptık, o da cepte. Kent kütüphanesi de hayallerimizden biriydi. Hem paneller gerçekleştirdik hem de zaten etkinlik alanında sizin de görmüş olduğunuz o kent kütüphanesinin mekanında aslında eminim ki buradaki herkes en az bir kişiyle tanışmıştır. O yüzden onu da gerçekleştirebildik. Kent mutfağı bana tanıdık geliyor. Çünkü onu da hayal etmiştik diye hatırlıyorum. Aslında bir odayı da gerçekten kapatıp bir mutfağa dönüştürme hayalimiz vardı ama ICC bize izin vermedi. Mutfak yapılamaz dedi. O yüzden onu başka etkinliklerde gerçekleştirmek dileğiyle deyip D seçeneği kent mutfağı diyorum.
Emin misiniz? Son kararınız mı?
Son kararım.
Evet, tebrik ederiz. Harika gidiyorsunuz. Çok güzel. Peki Görsel Hanım, hadi sizinle devam edelim tekrar. Sıradaki sorumuz gelsin. Maruf'tan önce başlayarak çıktılarının Maruf'ta paylaşıldığı Maruf'a doğru etkinlikleri kapsamında aşağıdakilerden hangisi gerçekleştirilmemiştir? A. Dayanıklı kent için mahalle çağrısına çıkan Marmaraton. B. Sokakların kamusal mekana dönüştürüldüğü sokak dönüştürme. C. Çocukların Marmara'yı hayal ettiği şehirde yaşam atölyeleri. D. Balıkların Marmara'yı medeniyetin başkenti ilan ettiği Marmara güzellemesi.
Evet, şimdi Marmaraton geçtiğimiz Maruf'ta da aslında yaptığımız ilkini ama bu sene biraz daha farklılaştırarak yaptığımız bir ideaton. Onu gerçekleştirdik. İlk Maruf on the Go'muzdu.
Evet.
İkincisi sokak dönüştürme. Sokak dönüştürmesi de Eylül ayında aslında 8 yerde dönüşmeler oldu. Yani o da bitirdiğimiz son Maruf on the Go etkinliği diyebilirim. C seçeneği Marmara'yı hayal etmek atölyesi ARK ile beraber gerçekleştirdiğimiz ve 13 şehirde yine 13 belediyeyle işbirliğiyle 187 çocuğa ulaştığımız bir atölye çalışmasıydı. Sergisi de en ilgi çeken sergilerden biri oldu. O da kesin. D seçeneği bir marmar odamız vardı ama daha çok martı sesleri olduğunu hatırlıyorum. O yüzden doğru cevap D seçeneği diyorum. Yani.
Emin misiniz? Son kararınız mı
Son
Görsel
kararım.
Hanım?
Hı hı.
Evet, tebrik ederiz. O zaman belki biraz daha acaba diyorum ki bu etkinliklerden biraz bahsetsek mi? Mesela Marmaraton'da tam olarak neler yaptık ya da sokak dönüştürmeden bir iki konumuzu mu davet etsek acaba sahneye?
Evet, belki biraz daha hakim kişileri davet edebiliriz. Marmaraton için bizim yaratıcı ekibimizden Samet Keskin'i davet edebiliriz sahneye.
Samet Bey, sizi sahneye alabilir miyiz? Buyurun. Şöyle buyurun.
Sokak dönüştürme için aslında
Hoş
daha
geldiniz.
doğrusu hem yürütme kurulu üyemiz hem de birden fazla MARUF23'u beraber yaptığımızı fark ettik. O yüzden Selva Güldoğan'ı ben sahneye davet etmek istiyorum.
Selvacığım da. Hoş geldiniz hocam. Buyurun. Evet hocam, sizinle başlamak isteriz. Önce kendinizi tanıtıp sonra biraz bize bu Maruf Yürütme Kurulu üyesi olarak yaptığınız tüm bu güzel çalışmaların bir özetini belki sunmak isterseniz. 1-2 dakikalık sadece görüşlerinizi almak isteriz.
Çok teşekkür ederim. İnanın burada birçok ekiple beraber çalıştık. Kimse üzerine alınmasın. En çok sizi seviyoruz. Ellerinize, emeğinize sağlık. Sanıyorum kimse uyumadı son bir aydır. Umuyorum pazar günü izninizle uyuman nasip olur. Ben Selva Gürdoğan, mimarım. 2006 senesinden beri İstanbul'da mimarlık yapıyorum. Ve kent alanlarının daha etkin kullanımı en büyük hayalim ve bu konuda son 6-7 senedir de birçok belediyeyle beraber çalışıyoruz. Hepiniz iyi ki varsınız. Marmara Belediyeler Birliği bir açık çağrı yaptı. Sanıyorum Ocak ayındaydı açık çağrı. Sokakları beraber dönüştürelim isteğiyle yola çıktık. Beklediğimizden daha fazla ilgi ve yapılabilecek birçok proje sunuldu. Kimseye hayır demek istemedik. O yüzden 8 projeyle de devam ettik. Bunların çıktılarını zaten göreceksiniz. Üzerinden burası Türkiye, başımızdan hep bir şeyler geçiyor. Çok şükür diyelim. Ama bunun sonucunda gene de Eylül ayında peş peşe bir hafta içerisinde bu 7-8 tane projeyi hayata geçmiş görmek bizim için çok çok kıymetli bir çıktı. Emeği geçen herkese çok teşekkürler. Eminim burada birbirimizden ilham alarak çok daha güzel işlere hep beraber vesile olacağız. Burada nerede, nasıl destek olabiliyorsak birlikte olarak bunu yapabiliyor olmak gerçekten çok güzel. Maruf için de emeği geçen herkese tekrar teşekkürler. Ellerinize sağlık.
Biz size teşekkür ederiz. Evet, Selva Hanım'dan sonra Samet Bey'e hızlıca sözü verelim.
Evet, yani gerçekten buranın heyecanında... Merhabalar, ben Samet Keskin. Marmara Belediyeler Birliği'nde Veri ve Teknoloji Merkezi Direktörü olarak çalışmaktayım. Burcu Hanım'a katılıyorum. Burasının heyecanı gerçekten bambaşkaymış. Çocukluk hayalimdi bu yarışmaya katılmak. Bunu gerçek kıldığı için de ayrıca teşekkür ederim. Ben de Marmaraton'dan bahsedeyim biraz. Marmaraton'u bir cümleyle özetlemem gerekse aslında şunu söyleyebilirim ki gençlerle birlikte bir fikir üretme maratonuydu. Bunu çok kısa bir sürede gerçekleştirmemiz gerekti. Çok teşekkürler, sağ olun. İlkini 2021 yılında yaban için kent konusuyla gerçekleştirmiştik. Ancak 6 Şubat depremlerinde Maruf'un ana temasının da Resilience and Beyond olmasıyla beraber bu seneki konseptimizi dayanıklı kent için mahalle konseptimiz.
Resilience. We wanted to talk about neighborhood. Acting as a community is important. That's why we wanted to focus on young people here as well. 18-33 years old. We all went for a call and asked them to participate. We all helped with Superpol Üretken Academy, Productive Academy. First, we want to raise awareness, and so the youngsters participated in a one-week training. So this marathon took 36 hours, starting at 9 a.m. While a space was open for them, they came and they stayed there and generated ideas. The academicians, practitioners gave us their information. Well, they were informed about how municipalities work, etc. It's a 2-day-long activity. Well, young people were introduced to urban problems here in Marmara and other places. We've listened to their solutions. In the scope of Maruf, yesterday we had an activity. The youngsters presented their projects, and well, we have made space for their projects here in Maruf. We want to continue doing that. Well, Özge, my mom is your fan. She is watching your programs. She sends her greetings. Thank you very much. Okay, thank you very much. Let's go on. Well then, next question. Burcu Hanım. Which was not organized within the scope of the closing sessions. of MARUF23, which will not go on after the closing session of MARUF23. COP28, Livable Cities Symposium, Urban Routes, and World Municipalities Day. Because COP28, we have not included COP28 in our agenda. Okay, A. Are you sure? Yes, sure. You sure? She is sure, she is certain. Please push the button. Well, let's talk about it. Well, Livable City Symposium, RRI Turkey is organizing this event. It just started in room 5. It will go on until 5:30 p.m. Maybe Güneş Hanım and her team is here. I wish them lots of success and I wish you went over there after this forum. As the MARUF team, we recommend you go there. Maybe you would like to talk, Görsef Hanım, talk about urban routes. Well, there are 20 or more than 20 urban routes. We know we've kept you here for 3 days. We'd like you to go with the flow, with the urban flow. And that's why we set routes for you. There's some room in these routes, and it will happen at lunch. So when you go out, go to the MARUF stand, register yourselves for these routes. Yes, go to the, well, you should register to the urban routes. They're very good. So let's talk about World Metropolitan Day. It happens October 7th every day. This year will be hosted by Marmara Union of Municipalities. We have 2 invaluable partners, UN Habitat and Metropolis. I see Rafael.
A little bit about World Metropolitan Day.
Welcome.
Please.
So, hello, my name is Rafael Forero, working as Policy, Governance and Metropolitan Expert at UN Habitat. And let me say that we really hope from UN Habitat that we share the prize with us in international cooperation, because we really need in international cooperation to be billionaire in order to implement sustainable development goals. Actually, that was the main conclusion of the United Nations Assembly that we held 2 weeks ago in New York. No? Only 12% of sustainable development goals are right on path. So we really need improved international financing mechanisms to embrace sustainable transitions. Let me also congratulate you, of course, all of you, the Marmara Municipalities Union team, the mayors present here, of course, and Shemil for all this important work. We are very happy to participate from UN Habitat. We are ready to support Marmara Municipalities Union and all metropolitan and regional authorities around the world to embrace sustainable development challenges and transitions. We are seeing a real human development transformation from UN Habitat. We are sure, as the world continues to urbanize, it is also becoming metropolitan. No? Cities are not anymore captured within jurisdictional and political administrative boundaries. So we really need cooperation, collaboration at the center of public policy. And that is what we will discuss tomorrow at the Hilton Hotel Bosphorus, just in front of here, no? From 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. we will commemorate World Metropolitan Day. We will strengthen this collaboration between local governments, between neighboring cities, and we will especially discuss the importance of nature, how nature can improve and how help us to go beyond urban and to embrace really subnational development approach, really regional development sustainability. Of course, all of you are invited, and we need you. We need you because we already say this from UN Habitat and from UN. We are not enough, we have not enough capacities to transform cities, to transform metropolis, to link nature and metropolitan development and regional development. So we need all of your help. We really hope you join us tomorrow at the Hilton Hotel Istanbul at 10 a.m. to commemorate, along with Metropolis, of course, World Metropolitan Day, and along with Marmaras Municipalities Union.
Thank you very much.
Teşekkür ederiz. Rafael.
Thank you, Rafael, for your invaluable contributions. Tomorrow you're kindly invited to go to Hilton Hotel to celebrate the World Metropolitan Day. It's open, it's free of charge, it's not a closed meeting. Please come join us. Well, then we have answered this question. Next question, please. What could we have done better at MARUF23? I don't want any choices here. There may be multiple choices, more than 3 or 4. I'd like to invite 2 people to the stage. One has been member of the steering committee since 2019, Associate Professor Alim Arlı. And the other person, please come to the stage, Professor. Thank you. The other person, please take a seat. Could you help him with the microphone? Thank you. The other name is, well, throughout the last 3 days, under the coordinatorship of Elif Avcı, a group of young people watched MARUF, took their notes, and they have prepared their own manifesto, right? They had a roundtable meeting this morning. They already started doing it this morning. Hilay, I'd like to invite you to the stage now, who is a member of the team of youngsters who wrote their own manifesto this morning. Welcome, welcome.
Evet.
Okay. Now I'd like to leave the floor first to, I think you might be really excited, I'd like to leave the floor to our professor. Welcome, it's great to have you here. Could you please introduce yourself? Just like everyone, I'd also like to thank the managers, the president of MMU, and the general secretary, and all the participants. I'd like to salute them. I'm Alim Arlı. I'm an academic at Marmara University. I'm a sociologist. Since 2019, I've worked at, the side roles to actually support the event. So since we've actually worked together since March 2019, what would be your suggestions to actually do better that could have been better for MARUF23? What is your shortest take on this? Well, I think it's just like a professional habit. Wherever I go, I take the ethnography of an area that I go to. So the positive thing is, it's a really large event, as İlhan Tekeli said. It's a mega event. It's the largest urban forum there is in Marmara region. With their municipalities union are leading the charge towards turning this into an international brand. As you might remember, in the first MARUF that we had, we looked at urban forums around the globe, and the upside is it looks at public aspects, and it's free of charge. And maybe we couldn't really communicate this to the public. It takes a lot of effort, a lot of initiative and dedication from the managers to allow everyone to experience this free of charge. And what this brings as a con is that I believe that we could have had more participation from universities. Programs and departments that are dealing with urban issues could have been more present here. It's just a self-criticism, actually. And I believe international media could have turned their cameras and their microphones to this event more, because we talked about, we chose the resilience as the theme, and there are great things identified, and we have a MARUF book published every time, and we have great solutions and solution proposals published in that. I believe the media could have been more active, more involved, more engaged with our event. I think this is sort of like a self-criticism. We shouldn't really just put the blame on the media, but we could have had more engagement. The third thing is, I think we need more work there as well. We had it online, yes, but when we look at as a municipality's activity, when we have this, with municipalities collaboration, we have around 190 municipalities around Marmara, and I've seen great conversations with those from the municipalities across Marmara. But I believe that those from municipalities, those who are members, their senior level management or their medium level management, I think they should be more engaged with this event, especially for these networking events. They should sit together with academics, and maybe we should allow them to do that with a platform that we can create as an event. Content-wise, we are so rich, but there's nothing to add here because everything has been covered. It's sort of like an event inflation that we've had. We couldn't even watch some stuff. We couldn't even see some stuff, so you'll watch them on YouTube. We had networking room this year, and we've had really great networking events held there with projects and funds that could be matched in those events. And yes, they have been quite busy, and disseminating them and promoting them is among our goals. Thank you, actually. And I'd also like to thank two people here, especially those who were helped with the MMU and the MMU's managers and their representatives here. And I'd also like to thank our sign language interpreters and also our interpreters in the booths. I'd like to thank them as well. Yes, thank you. Go ahead, however you like. Hira, now on to you. Let's hear you now for 2 minutes. I'm from Istanbul Technical University Urban Planning and Region Planning third-year student, and I also am a MARUF ambassador at Roundtable. Let me just talk about the Young Table. What we did, we joined all the panels, all the sessions, we toured the showcases and experienced MARUF and had the chance to observe it, saw the pros and cons, and especially the cons, but also the pros as well. But first, as young people, how we define resilience and what is beyond resilience. Let me just say it through our manifesto. Resilience is not using antidepressant, not having any problem with shelter, always being empowered, that is decent, and living that is in a sustainable environment. I think this is our way of existence. Lack of resilience is the uncertain struggle that we have, and to actually have it move beyond that. And what's beyond resilience is that this Don Quixote type of struggle that we have is actually being ready to what we do. What have we observed here is that in MARUF 2023, we realized that young people did not actually participate in the sessions. They actually mainly participated in interactive sessions, not the ones where you had speakers speaking. And we heard from young people that they were more engaged and more appealing to them, these interactive sessions. And they believed that the other ones were so basic that they only wanted to talk about the things that they were more interested in. At the same time, as the Young Table team, what we decided here is that young people should not only be just audience members, but they also need to be members of the speakers that we have. I think that was lacking to have young speakers on stage. And we also need to have young people take active role across cities, both in decision-making and policy-making processes. Young people should not be a promotional apparatus. They have their own feelings, their own ideas and initiatives, and things that can offer for the benefit of a city. We should not ignore them. Thank you. Thank you, Hira. So you are full on the participation, and we have a young next generation that really is engaged and wants to be engaged and is driven. We really would like to see your manifesto to be included in our publication. Thank you for your contribution. Now, quickly, final rounds of questions, and would like to end our competition. Now we can have the question now. Compared to MARUF 19 and 21, how was MARUF 23? Which one should I ask this question to? Which of you? Okay, I'm just asking to all of you. A, that was great, way better than previous MARUFs. It was good. It was actually behind them. I think it was medium. I think it was around the previous MARUFs. Bad. It was behind, actually, quite behind the MARUFs. I actually have an answer, but can we use a participation joker? Yes, we're now using a participator, an audience member joker. I would like you to scan this QR code, but if you're not able to scan this QR code, please type in this website to your browser and make your own answer. And then we will have the poll results. I think we're out of time. Okay, so can we have the ones who rated it bad? Just joking here. We're of course not going to ask that question. I would like to, announce that we will send a survey to all our participants, and you will be able to voice your feedback, criticism, and suggestion. Please do not hesitate to give feedback. We can only be better through feedback, and this will help improve our future forums. And final question. Can I please have the final question? But first I need to see the screen. Okay, great. Where and when will MARUF 25 take place? Let's see the options. Do we not have any options? Well, time constraint, out of time. This is the out of time, right? Yeah, we're out of time. So MARUF 25, I think time will tell only. At 1:30 in the morning with our coordinators, Samat, Furkan, Yunus from IT. He's really supported us, and we wanted to really give you a fun closing. We're sorry for anything if you'd be upset too. Thank you, everyone. I'd like to leave the floor with our coordinators, and would like to invite Cemil Arslan, our General Secretary. Distinguished President and distinguished guests, I actually do not have a speech prepared, but I'm here to thank everyone for making MARUF possible, making it internationally recognized, and with all its main themes who have helped us, especially Tahir, our President. Please take the floor, Mr. President. Distinguished presidents, mayors, and guests, I would like to salute you all with respect and kind words. So as we close this event, we've had this really fun experience. I would like to thank all my colleagues for that great event. So we started out with cities developing solutions in 2019 and 2021. We had to rethink and co-act. That's where we put the emphasis on. And each year we raise the bar. And in this meeting, in this forum, it's not only resilience that we required, it was something that went beyond resilience. And to emphasize this from a holistic perspective, that's why we themed this event as resilience and beyond. And as we can see from the poll, we raised the bar up and up, and now we're at a really good place. We've had really successful participation. What underlies this success is a huge number of people making great efforts, but mainly you could see young team that we have, especially our General Secretary and his colleagues. It's their efforts that made this possible. A round of applause for them, please. Of course, we are a union, and as a union of municipalities, we would not have existed without the mayors and the municipality staff. If we didn't have these people there and their efforts, it wouldn't have been possible. I would also like to thank them. We've had many partners, mainly universities, public and private institutions. We've had well over 100 partners. I think 111 partners, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, we've had 111 partners supporting us, and I'd also like to extend my gratitude to them. Especially young people and the volunteers that we have, they made this possible with their great efforts, and it wouldn't be possible without them as well. In previous forums, we said to achieve something better, MARUF is the best meeting place, and I believe this is really befitting. We always try to develop and improve in a unified effort. It's seeking the better. I think this is what makes it more valuable. You know, it's actually those who look for it that do not find it, but it's actually those who do not look for that do find it. So when we try to find something better than you, and you have to pursue that. And that pursuit is a pursuit for further improvement, and we should always remind ourselves of that as we manage this and organize this event. And always, I have this in the back of my mind, how can we make this better? And this is what they did. They asked how we could have improved this, and our professor relayed a great message to us. This will be a suggestion and also a discussion point, actually, that I would like to offer here. And also, we have our mobile app, as you well know, or other channels that you will hear from our colleagues. If there's anything that you have as a feedback about the things that you've seen here, about the things that you've experienced here, as has been mentioned by the Young Table representative that will be included in their manifesto, if you have any suggestions for a better MARUF, if you have any idea that we should improve on, we will mobilize our decision-making mechanisms and make sure that it is taken care of. I've spent 15 years of my career in academia and 10 years in bureaucracy, even as a governor, and now I'm as your friend, actually, who's a mayor here. I've had the opportunity to look through different lenses the life that I lived. And there is an issue of communication between the implementers and the policymakers, and we need some interfaces that can actually be a mediator between them. Sakarya University President, Kocaeli University President, they are my friends. We've had the opportunity to work with when I was in Kocaeli. These interfaces have to be set up correctly. If not, then you have some people who are just after the implementation and who have to deal with the day-to-day hassles and how to tackle the day-to-day issues that they come up, and who are short-sighted in their endeavors. They miss the long-term matters, and there are also those who actually try to change the long-term issues. And we need to combine the two, but if we do not have an interface between them, it's not possible. So we need to make sure that these two perspectives have to connect, and these are only possible through certain mechanisms that we can establish. Think of it this way: you have a brain, and if the brain is the academia gives a task for the body to complete, but the skeleton and the muscle system is the one responsible for implementing it. Bureaucracy is not something to just condemn. Bureaucracy works just like the skeleton and the muscle system that we have in the body. The laws and regulations and this legislation is only possible through collaboration between these two. If someone is not dealing with the issues, long-term or short-term, if someone doesn't flag the wrongdoings or the errors, if doesn't measure, or if doesn't ask for a third opinion, an outside opinion about the things that are going wrong, then we will not be able to improve. I've also mentioned it in the opening session. I really didn't go into detail. Without further actually speaking, I also would like to say that we talked about aeronautics industry, and there was this quote from the black box thinking, and that was the main idea. It was learning from mistakes. It's not just the system, but it also talked about David Beckham, and how the scoring goals by David Beckham had a result, but also the missed goal, the missed shots were also really important. And also in the aeronautics and aerospace industry, it's really important to have new flight codes to make sure that these mistakes are not repeated, and further improvement is ensured for the future. It was really a horizon-broadening book, and I'd really also come up with some suggestions to my colleagues, and as we talk about resilience and beyond, it was the same thing. Systems that are sustainable are required for the systems that we're building. So if we only have the academic information, then you don't have it in the real world as a practice. And a mere implementation is not footed in information will only be short-lived. And I realized that sometimes you have to stop discussing things and start doing something, because you cannot really discuss till the end of time. Yes, with its errors, with its pitfalls, so on and so forth. If you are pursuing excellence, it's also the same thing in academia as well. The best thesis is the one that is concluded, and especially in implementation. If there's something that is not done, a job that's not been implemented, it would show you that your project will be short-lived if you do not really take it to the test. And making a great presentation doesn't mean anything alone. It's actually what taking it into practice means something. So we need to be met with really actionable information. Let me give an example. In 2021, we did a collaboration with Kocaeli University, and we had a symposium about social aid. And in connection with SDGs, we were talking about mother health and childbirth-related mother's health, as well as children's health related SDGs were the focus there. How could we make sure that this was really implemented in a tangible way? And there were great presentations by our distinguished academics, but how were we to implement this, right? For their health, they had to be vaccinated, and then you need some pregnancy tracking and monitoring. and the postpartum tracking of the mother's health and the child's health is really important as well. So how can you do that? You can do it in health clinics. How can we take them to health clinics? So we said, okay, we should maybe distribute milk. How much milk do they need? This much. Let's make sure that they can only get their milk when they go to a health clinic, that it's a neighborhood health clinic. Maybe we could then only monitor the previous 3 months prior to delivery and 3 months after delivery. And in SDGs, reducing childbirths, and we were able to achieve positive results. This is what we have to do. This is how we can actually say that to our academics. I think this becomes more clearer, right? For instance, in Barbara, there was a mucilage, and there was a TÜBİTAK-led framework with digital control systems, all the way to you had biologists looking at what enzymes could break that down. There was great effort and presentations from experts, and sometimes you could hear someone, saying these things that even though they're in the same language that you know, but it comes off as a foreign language. Sometimes you go to a physician and then the physician tells you about your disease, but you don't understand what's happening, right? Because it sounds as if it's gibberish. So we need a framework that would connect the dots, these dots that we cannot understand. And this is why that's why we do it biannually. But when we do it biannually, we forget about what's been talked about. As speech is temporary, but when you have something written down, then it's temporary. So it's permanent. So you have to make sure that you should institutionalize. Yes, institutionalization is really important. About institutionalization, the first suggestion that I'd like to offer is that you need to have permanent working groups. Marmara Municipalities Union's Secretariat will take on this job and differentiate this with collaboration with NGOs and private sector, with collaboration from government authorities as well. And for each SDG, we can have working groups that could cater to that. We need to make sure that they are permanent. So we shouldn't actually just do something else in the next in the 2 years after. These should be ongoing work. Secondly,
well, of course, there's a publication aspect. We should share these ideas with the public. So I like the TEDx format. Most of you know the TEDx format. Well, I suggest we do something like TEDx. I mean, have a joint project with TEDx. Is that possible or not? I instruct my colleagues to work this out. I mean, that inspiring ideas, maybe academicians may come, or practitioners, private sector representatives, people who protect the environment, clean the environment, and who have inspiring and creative ideas gather around this platform. And maybe what is more important for municipalities is to see best practices shared on TEDx, or that to share it with an audience or to the interested parties. TEDx presentations on best practices, that is another suggestion. For example, there was a TEDx talk on Times Square pedestrianization. Well, I watched the TEDx talk. Maybe you can find it somewhere. It's a nice project. The city council the mayor of New York wanted to pedestrianize Times Square, and they did it. So there are similar projects all over the world. So there should be a platform like TEDx through which we can share these. Well, academic support should be institutionalized. And for academic support to be institutionalized, I would like to share 2 suggestions. you. For sustainable cities, we need some actions or headings should be determined, which will help us go there. Like research centers, building research centers at universities, directors and presidents. I mean, we can talk about Migration Research Center, late Migration Research Center for the Marmara region, right? So that they can manage this kind of experience together. And then I mean, there are lots of doctorate theses, postgraduate theses to solve a problem, right? Well, there is we can have a whole thesis bank at research institutes. Well, and then go to this pool of theses, ask if there is a specific thesis on a specific theme. Let's say, can you solve a specific problem with a thesis, with something that is elaborated in a thesis? Instead of having general headings of thesis, we can make them more specific, like the migration problem. I mean, to strengthen local democracy, migration poses a challenge in Bağcılar, for example. If you can pick a specific municipality, whereas migration imposes challenges, for example, I mean, a student who is admitted to Princeton in the USA studied ethnicities in Black Sea. They have a doctorate thesis there. Our own student goes there to analyze our own situation. So they have this basis of very intelligent, smart studies exists. We can do the same for our cities, research institutes, municipalities, central administration, and private sector organizations. They can do this together. So these links, these bonds should be strengthened. And last but not least, was mentioned by the professor, manage communication better. We could not explain ourselves that well. I mean, if we did a great job, a huge job, but no one, until people realize what a good job it is, it's no longer there. This is the kind of dilemma of modern times. What is popular is interesting. What people are interested in becomes popularized. And you have to be in the media to be popular. Of course, you should not be angry with it. We should draw people's attention, social media, social networks, draw more interest there, to have an ongoing campaign running continuously. I mean, to manage, to raise awareness. February 6th, we had this big earthquake. The perception regarding earthquakes grows. Now people are more interested in earthquakes. Then the awareness goes away, or we go back to the past somehow. Social memory, collective memory, well, it's lost, and which is an important challenge for resilient city building. We need an ongoing, a continuous communication campaign, and we need to institutionalize that as well. Otherwise, well, something that is in a public benefit will not win over something that is of a short-term interest. Only short-term works will dominate long-term works, public works. So this weight is important. So NGOs, public opinion building, this is all important. We need a strong campaign to manage communication with these parties. I'm sure you're taking your notes on one hand. To work on all these things, there will be board decisions also, the city council, on these, I mean, institutes, universities. I'm sure the presidents, rectors of universities will take a leading role, should play a pivotal role in this process. Otherwise, it will not work out. I mean, fortunately, these works, they have to be continued. someone at the top should own them, so as they can continue. Most of the time, this is how it works. And for example, a Marmara Research Center can be built, or a Marmara Institute can be established, maybe by municipalities. And the universities can be a stakeholder there to be able to continue this business. I'm running out of time, but we have important headings, and we have a mobile app which is accessible and which to each and everyone. If you have any suggestions, improvement suggestions, you can go to our mobile app. Info Marmara is the name of it. Yes, you can submit your suggestions to Info Marmara for our work to be more concrete, so that this is also reflected in our assembly decisions, city council decisions. We can also focus on what we can do with universities. Please work on the university aspect, on the university collaboration aspect. Take your notes. You made the space beautiful. It was a tiresome series of events because, but still you're here listening to us with great patience and understanding. And I was an academic once, and I can gauge your level of interest in here. Please put your hands together for yourselves. Last but not least, I'd like to once again thank my team, my colleagues, my Secretary General, and I would like to salute you all and extend my deepest regards to each and every one of you.
Sayın Başkanımız 3 gündür Kocaeli'nden.
Distinguished Mayor, he is coming back and forth from Kocaeli to Istanbul, but we would like to resort to his patience. I'd like to thank all board members, partners, sponsors, international supporters, sign language specialists, interpreters, translators, rapporteurs, technical teams, organizing team. Thank you. We were on stage maybe, the ones on stage maybe, but I'd like to invite the representatives of these groups to the stage now. For many months, MARUF program coordinators are kindly invited to the stage. Then we have three specialists, senior specialists, experts, Merve Ağaca, Özge Silikaya, Samet Keskin. Please come to the stage, be ready and come to the stage. We didn't have so much money, and we are environmentally friendly. People were joking about these wooden fixtures. İrem Kurtuluş is the designer, the architect of the equipment you have seen, made of wood you have seen around. And sometimes they were singing, they were dancing, and lighting candles, looking for inspiration. Creative team Büşra İnce, Büşra Yılmaz, Halanur Dönmez, Hatice Kübra Baştu, Nazlı Can Akçı, Selim Burcu, Ali Emre Soner, Dola Toprak, Melisa Acar. Institutional Communication Team Hatice Çetiner, Furkan Düzgiden, Damla Özden, İpek Nur Arsoy. Please come to the stage. Damla, by the way, can you come here, please? MARUF has a creative team personified in Damla. Damla, when she was a student at the interpreting department, Boğaziçi University, she started interning with us. Then she became a civil servant. In 2 days, she will go to Germany for a master's thesis. She quit her job as a civil servant, but she stayed with us. She will stay until tomorrow night, right? She helped us a lot. Thank you. IT team Yunus Kerem. Logistics support Salih, Ali Mert, Sefa, and their team Mustafa, Kabil, Ahmet, Cihat, Kahraman, and his team. Other support team Gamze Güler, Melik Öztürk, Mustafa Özkul, Ferhat Ümür, Sümeyye Merve Çetin Eda, Mustafa Tarık Şimşek, Murat Arlı, Duygu Kavak Şahinoğlu, Büşra Yenidoğan, Buse Eçkinoğlu, Ecem, İskender, Mücahit Demirbuşlap, Pelit. Well, Arzu, Nimet, Gülfidan, they had always coffee and tea for us, ready. Ahmet, Ramazan, Emre, they cleaned the house, and we have a transportation team and a volunteer team with the yellow vests, the professional team with the black shirts. Everyone, they're all our stakeholders. Thank you, each and every one of you. I have tried to create a global brand around the city's city council and mayor. Thank you very much for all your efforts. The mayors are invited to the stage.